Mentally baffle your spectator with this mental metric. The magician starts with a normal deck of cards. He gives it to the spectator and asks the spectator to shuffle the cards. Once the cards are shuffled, the magician takes them back and he asks the spectator to give him a number between 10 and 20. The spectator chooses the number 17. Therefore, the magician deals 17 cards on the table by creating two piles. Once the two piles are made, the magician asks the spectator to pick one of those two piles and to shuffle the cards. The spectator chooses the right pile and he shuffles the cards. After shuffling the cards, the magician asks the spectator to look at the bottom card and to remember the card. The card that the spectator has to remember is the 5 of spades. Now that the spectator remembers his card, the magician asks him to place his pile on top of the bigger pile. Now the magician asks the spectator once again to give him a number between 10 and 20. This time, the spectator chooses the number 14. Therefore, the magician counts 14 cards on top of the other small pile. And when he's done shuffling, he places the rest of the deck on top of the smaller pile. To conclude everything, the magician simply uses his mental strength to find the position of the card. Therefore, he deals a certain number of cards on the table until he reaches a card. After dealing a certain number of cards, the magician stops to this card right here. He simply asks the spectator what was his card. The spectator replies, the 5 of spades. And against all the odds, the magician actually stopped at the 5 of spades. The spectator is stunned. To perform this trick, start with a normal deck of cards and give it to the spectator so he can shuffle it. Once he's done, take the cards back. Ask him to give you a number between 10 and 20. Let's say he gives you the number 15. And make sure you remember this number. You will use it later in the trick to find the card of the spectator. Simply deal 15 cards on the table by creating two piles. When this is done, ask your spectator to pick either of those two piles. Let's say he picks the left one. Ask him to shuffle this pile. And once he's done shuffling, ask him to look at the bottom card and to remember his card. In this case, his card is the Queen of Hearts. Once he remembers his card, ask him to place his pile on top of the bigger pile. Now, ask him once again to give you a number between 10 and 20. Let's say he gives you the number 17. Simply deal 17 cards on top of the other small pile. When you're done, put the rest of the cards on top of the pile on the table. When you have all the cards in your hand, here's how to find the card of the spectator. At the beginning of the trick, the spectator gave you the number 15. Here's the equation that you will use to find his card. Start with 40, then subtract by the number that the spectator gave you earlier, and then add 13. 40 minus 15 plus 13 equals 38. You must also know that no matter what number your spectator gave you earlier in the trick, you must always start with 40 and then add 13 at the end, no matter what number he gave you earlier. Since the value of this equation is 38, you must deal 37 cards on the table to reach the 38th card. Once you've reached the 38th card, simply ask your spectator what was his card, and he will always be stunned by your performance.